Here in 2024, I see why a lot of men are questioning marriage. Not trying to discourage anyone, but after what I've been through, I think it's important to share my story. Might help someone else spot what I missed for almost 3 decades. I'll start with who I am. My name's Mike. I own Elite European Auto Services in Chicago. Been in the business for 32 years now. Started turning wrenches when I was 18. Got my ASE certification while still in my teens. Specialized in European vehicles by 23. I'm 53 now, and until recently, I was married for 28 years. Yeah, you heard that right. Almost 3 decades before I discovered who my wife really was. Let me paint you a picture of my business first, because it's important to understand how all this played out. Elite European isn't your average repair shop. We handle high-end vehicles exclusively. Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Range Rover, that level. Built our reputation slowly, deliberately. Started in a 4-bay garage in '99. Now we've got 15 bays, 12 certified mechanics, and contracts with some of the biggest corporations in Chicago. One of our major accounts is Vista Hotels. Been servicing their entire Chicago fleet since 2009. Everything from their airport shuttle vans to their executive vehicles. It's a solid contract, bringing in about $800K annually. More importantly, it's how I met Dorothy, my ex-wife. Back in '93, I was still working as a mechanic at the shop I'd eventually buy. Got a call around 9 p.m. Vista's airport shuttle had broken down. Stranded passengers everywhere. Dorothy was working at the front desk, dealing with angry travelers. I fixed their van, and instead of rushing home, we ended up talking in the hotel lobby until almost 3 a.m. She was different then, 21 years old, taking business classes at community college, full of dreams about working in hospitality. We dated for 3 years before getting married in '96. Those early years, man, we were a team. She worked the hotel desk during the day, took classes at night. I was pulling 12-hour shifts at the shop, learning everything I could about European cars. We lived in this tiny studio apartment, saving every penny we could. When she graduated with her hospitality management degree in '98, I thought I couldn't be prouder. Then in '99, my old boss wanted to retire, offered to sell me the shop. Dorothy was the one who pushed me to take the risk. We refinanced her car. She picked up extra catering gigs on weekends, did whatever it took to make that down payment. That's the kind of partnership we had, or at least I thought we had. The 2000s were our building years. I rebranded the shop, focused on high-end clients. Dorothy moved up at Vista, events coordinator by 2003, assistant events director by 2008, full director by 2012. We bought our first house in Oak Park in 2003. Nothing fancy, but we renovated it ourselves. Every weekend we were not working, we were fixing something. Built a life, brick by brick. Looking back now, the warning signs started around 2015. Dorothy got passed over for a promotion to regional events director. The woman who got it was younger, more polished, as they say. That's when everything started changing. First came the gym membership, then a personal trainer, then meal delivery services. Started with minor cosmetic procedures that somehow cost major money. I supported all of it. She was my wife, wanted her to feel good about herself. By 2018, she'd lost 70 pounds, had several procedures done, and completely changed her wardrobe. Started wearing clothes that cost more than some of our car repairs. Our bank account took a hit, but the shop was doing well. We'd secured the Vista Fleet contract, had several other corporate clients. I was working longer hours, but the money was good. Though somehow our savings never seemed to grow. There was always another renovation, another designer bag, another work expense. This is where this regional director enters the picture. Vista Hotels brought him in as regional director in late 2023, transferred from their West Coast division, early 40s, divorced, drove a Range Rover Autobiography, top of the line model, started showing up at our shop for service in January 2024. Here's where things get interesting. In March, our parts manager called in sick. I'm handling deliveries myself, going through invoices. Notice something odd. Charges for service on regional director's Range Rover that don't match normal maintenance schedules. 8 services in 4 months. That's excessive even for a problem vehicle. The service dates caught my attention. They lined up perfectly with Dorothy's late meeting nights. Started digging deeper into our Vista account records, found more irregular service charges, all approved by Morrison, who is the regional director. Would have caught it sooner, but I'd gotten lazy about checking the corporate accounts myself, too busy with day-to-day operations. Our shop keeps detailed records, have to with these high-end vehicles, client notes, service histories, everything. Go through the files, find something interesting. Dorothy had been dropping off Morrison's Range Rover for service multiple times, never during business hours, always when she knew I'd be tied up with other clients. Now, an important detail here, Dorothy had authority to drop off Vista vehicles, part of our contract arrangement. Nothing unusual about that on paper. But why was she personally handling the regional director's car? Why the excessive services? 2 weeks after finding those records, Mr. Wilson comes in. He's Vista's CFO, been a personal client for 12 years. I always handle his Mercedes personally. He seems off, keeps looking at me strangely while we're discussing his service needs. Finally says, "Listen, Mike, as your client and friend, there's something you need to know." Turns out Morrison had been bragging about his relationship with Dorothy at executive meetings. They'd been seen together at company events, industry conferences. The Range Rover, he'd given her free use of it, which violated company policy. But that wasn't even the worst part. They were planning to move to California after his promotion next quarter. Dorothy was going to file for divorce, take her share of everything I'd built. They'd already been looking at houses in San Diego. I hired a private investigator, expensive, but worth every penny. Within 3 weeks, had a complete file, hotel receipts, dinner dates, photos, everything. The PI also uncovered something worse, secret credit cards in my name, $46,000 in hidden debt, private accounts I never knew about. All while I'm working 70-hour weeks, thinking we're building our future. Filed for divorce in April. Had her served during Vista's annual charity gala. Petty? Maybe. But after 28 years of lies, I was done playing nice. Dorothy moved out that night, straight to Morrison's downtown condo. Didn't even try to deny anything, just demanded her fair share. Her lawyer played hardball until I presented evidence of the financial fraud. Amazing how fast their tone changed. Vista Hotels launched an internal investigation. Turned out Morrison had a history, 3 similar situations at different properties. They fired him in May. Dorothy lost her job too. Company policy about undisclosed relationships between directors and staff. The divorce finalized in September. No alimony, thanks to the fraud evidence, since Illinois is a no-fault divorce state. The money spent on a private investigator didn't really mean anything. She got her share of the house equity minus the fraudulent debt. House sold for $920K. After adjusting for the fraud, she walked away with $360,000. Saw her last week at our old grocery store in Oak Park. Designer clothes replaced by Target specials. Range Rover downgraded to a used Chevy Blazer. Tried to start a friendly conversation like nothing had happened. I just walked away. Some betrayals don't deserve words. Morrison? Last I heard, he's engaged to some restaurant owner's wife in Seattle. Guess leopards don't change their spots. The shop's still doing well. Lost a Vista contract. No surprise there. But our reputation's solid. Got 3 new corporate clients this year. Bought a smaller house in Lincoln Park. Started taking actual vacations instead of just working all the time. To you guys thinking about marriage, I'm not saying don't do it. Just protect yourself. Get a prenup. Keep records. Watch your accounts. And when something feels off, start paying attention. Document everything. And for God's sake, whatever state you live in, at least peek to see if it's a no-fault or at-fault divorce state. The signs were there, looking back. The sudden interest in her appearance, the late nights, the secret phone, the dwindling savings, even the way she started treating my mechanics differently, like they were beneath her somehow. 28 years is a long time to waste on a lie. But here's what I learned. It's never too late to start over. I'm focusing on the shop, my health, and my peace of mind. Taking cooking classes, if you can believe it, joined a car club, living life on my terms. That's my story, brothers. Would have shared it sooner, but been dealing with a fleet of hail-damaged Porsches from that storm last week. Cars don't fix themselves, and neither do broken marriages. But at least with cars, you can see what's broken. Remember, sometimes the most expensive repair isn't the one you make to a car. It's the one you make to your life after someone you trusted tears it apart. P.S. Yeah, I should have seen it coming. But 28 years of trust isn't easy to question. Lesson learned, time to rebuild. This time with better boundaries and a hell of a lot more wisdom. Stay sharp out there, brothers. And thanks for letting me share my story.